Well, that was a heck of a morning. All right, let's get rid
Yeah.
of this. Holy cow, what's up, Frank?
Holy smokes, dude. You had a little run for the money this morning.
Dude, they said that there might be this cord won't get keeps getting caught and it said that there might be a little bit of weather that comes through the
Inclement
area.
weather. Was it
So I'm
inclement?
like working on the thumbnail this morning, about to send you the link, and I'm like, son of a gun, that's the tornado sirens.
Oh my God.
So then I fire it up, and it's like in Norman. It was one that went over Twin Lakes, which is like 5-6 miles away. And then anytime they say the Shawnee Mall, not a good sign.
No.
And they said the Shawnee Mall. So I was down there for probably like 45 minutes. Had to go pick up a bunch of stuff around the yard, but it was like no nader on the ground, thankfully. But yeah, you want to see my storm cellar? We can go hang out down there.
Yeah, we'll have to have a celebratory beer in the storm cellar.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I did take a video. I'll show everyone. That's just me in the storm cellar there. There it is.
Holy smokes, dude. It's just like, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
It just happens all the time.
So I am just above I-40 on Shawnee, and then the other bad sign is when see all those like little toy vehicles just below Johnson. That is that's where I live. That's where I live. So when all of the storm when all the storm trackers are at your exit a mile away, that's where you kind of take note.
Yeah, you kind of got to take it serious at that.
So point. I grabbed my passport. One of the things we got living in Oklahoma now for the wedding is it's like a fireproof, stormproof document case. So it's got like truck deals, extra keys, passport, birth certificates, whatever it is for the truck, title for the truck.
Yeah, dude, that's smart. That's super smart.
And then I grab my drive here that has just like all the information for the show and stuff on it.
Yeah, that's
get
smart.
Some water, some closed-toed shoes, and then you have the shelter that's like registered with the county. So like if a white oak falls on top of it and you're stuck down there, they know like that they need to come check you.
Perfect.
But I'm hoping so Court had to work this morning. She left at like 4 a.m. this morning because she still isn't here full time. But one of her understandably so, she's not thrilled about moving from the edge of Tornado Alley into Tornado Alley. So she has absolutely no idea that this went down. We'll just kind of keep this between us and our closest friends.
Yeah, us and all the viewers.
Nothing like starting it out with the freak January nadir in Oklahoma.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, but your weather's like crazy warm right now.
Yeah, no, Sean, I'm either down there or she's up here, but she has her lease for the next 2 weeks, and then she still has clients for the next 2 weeks. So she's officially moved here in 2 weeks. So that'll be a fun move.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah. That'll be fun. Holy smokes, dude. Yeah, you had me going for a minute this morning.
Yeah, you pulled it up. You pulled up the old radar too.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I got a live radar app, and it was wild. I'm like, ooh, there's Matt's house.
Yeah. The Blackstone cover somehow blew off of the Blackstone and was plastered against my fence in the back corner, so I had to go grab it.
Hey, at least it didn't get away.
Yeah, no, it did not get away. We got a ton to talk about. We're going to go old school on today's show. Frank's going to break down 2D and side imaging, how to find and fish structure. If you don't have forward-facing sonar, if you're just getting into the game, we're going to talk about, I set a personal best yesterday on the water. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but we are going to get to, obviously, the top news, which was in the cool new thumbnail that I had, and that is, what is it, Frank?
It's the Signature Series drop in the Flashpoint Deep and Flashpoint Shallow. The color's Violet Cream Truce, and this is This here, let me just, I was going to describe the color and everything, but I'm not going to bother. I'm going to just tell you guys this. This color is unbelievable in real life. And what I do want to cover is this is the first time we ever dropped a signature run with 2 baits.
And it says Frank SCALISH on the top.
Yeah, the shallow and the deep. I wanted the name on the back because I didn't want it garbaging up the pearls and the shadows and stuff and the muscle lines on the side of the bait. So I wanted the signature on the back. But here's the reason that we did this in the shallow and the deep. So when you're fishing suspending jerk baits, the biggest thing you have to recognize with bass behavior is how far are they willing to come up to get that jerk bait. Like for example, there's times on Lake Erie where you're sharing your screen, Matt, of your order.
I totally didn't know I was doing that. I thought you were going on it, and I was ordering it for the second week in a row.
You better get it going because it's going to go.
I'm going. That's no bullshit. That's what I'm doing right now. I got my card out. I'm right here. I'm getting my 2 because I really was glad that I got the Blue Trees Orange Bandit 200 last month, and I looked at this and was like, oh, I want this one.
Oh, you have to have this one. So here, I want to go. So I'm going to get right back to where I was. So it's very important to understand how far that bass is willing to travel from down here to up here to get your jerkbait, because that's going to be his active strike zone. Okay, so here, back in the old days on Lake Erie, we didn't have deep diving jerkbaits back then. Basically, we had the Pro Rogue and the suspending rattling Rogue, and so I would throw the original Pro Rogue on these giant smallmouths, and sometimes I would have my boat in 20 feet of water, and that bait would only get down to about 6 or 7 feet on light line and a monster long cast. Okay, and those fish would come up from the bottom and get this thing. But when they weren't that active, you couldn't catch them on it because you couldn't get it down deep enough, because you need to be in their strike window. So when we came out with this and we were going to put it in the flash point, we thought about it. And I said, we got to do both baits because you can't jerk bait fish without a deep and a shallow on, especially the suspending jerk baits. You can't do it because with forward-facing sonar now today, we can see the behavior of the bass. So if you're throwing the shallow gets down 6.
God, I just forgot to use the code.
Oh, Matt, shame on you.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So
it's capital BTL 25 still, or did they?
Yeah, 25 still.
It's still 25. Capital BTL 25, 15% off your order. That'll eventually change to 26, but as of January 8th, it's still capital BTL 25. Okay, continue.
Okay, so what happens is, when you're throwing the shallow jerkbait, we call it a shallow, but it'll go down 6-7 feet, and I like to throw it on 8-pound fluoro so I can get it down a little deeper. When the bass come up for it and then they stop, and you move the jerkbait and the bass follows it, you move the jerkbait and the bass disappears, that's because you're not close enough to it. It won't make that extra couple of feet commitment. That's when you pick the deep up. You throw the deep out there, the deep will get down about 11 feet. Mm-hmm. Okay. You throw the deep on them and it puts it right in their strike window. So now when you pull it and pause it and they come up, it's right in their face. So that was the reason for having both of those come out on the signature.
I like it. So hear me out on this. I have, especially now that I'm a scoper, Frank, I have gone way more. I have found more applications for a deep than I have the regular. Now, the regular shallow brush piles, tops of them in 6 to 8, you can cast 70,
or
work
shallow
it over.
Grass or shallow grass.
But in the scoping, I want to get the bait to the fish quicker. So 100%. Even in shallower brush piles, I will throw the deep. Instead of casting it past it, I will barely cast it past it, and then I can feather it down directly to the top. So if the top's an 8, instead of casting it out and just really to get it down there, I can cast it past and go and it's 4 foot deep.
Correct.
And it dives to it, and then I can pop the rod tip up, and the resistance of the bill makes that bait kind of almost go like that across the top of the brush pile.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm a fanatic with the deep jerk baits.
Yeah. So I got two of the deeps headed my way.
Yeah, I did before we went live, I did 4 of each. Because one, I want the full collection of the signature series, and I want 3 to fish with. I have to carry more jerk baits than most people because we have pike and muskies here, and I will lose a lot of them to them. They'll choke on it.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so I order a little bit more than is necessary. But this color, I have the color in a I have it in a DD22. I didn't get the baits. They were going to send me both baits. I didn't get them in time. So here's the color. So this thing is so cool. It's got a violet pearl. I dusted it with gray on the lateral line, and dusted the eyeballs, the eye sockets gray, and then put like a violet pearl on it. There it is.
Yeah, here, let me pull this up real quick, Frank. This shows it really well. Doesn't it?
Yeah, you could see it up under the lateral line. Yeah, perfect.
See, I mean, that's freaking awesome.
So I have that violet pearl on there. So I wanted a bait. To be honest with you, I did this for smallmouth and spotted bass, especially the smallmouth, because what happens is this pearled chartreuse belly shows up in the water, we know from past shows, as a bright white. So what happens is the bass can spot that a mile away, especially in clear water. They can spot that a mile away. And here's the deal. They literally will run right to that belly because it's bright white. So if it's an overcast day, it contrasts with the darker sky. It's like black and white. I mean, they can see this bait. And a lot of times that's half the reason you get the bite, is because it triggers them. Now the creamy bone on the back, I pearled the crap out of that too. This thing glows. I mean, I love this color. Like, this color is just, it's pure money. So that's why I designed this.
It does not exist in the DD22. You just happen to paint that color on the DD22 that you then transferred using your number system to the Flashpoint.
Correct.
The Flashpoint deep. So it is, I believe we said we thought it would be in the Flashpoint Junior. This is the regular Flashpoint that it's in.
Right. I was under the impression it was the Junior, and I was completely wrong, but it doesn't.
Capital BTL 25, 15% off regularly priced items, including this. I ordered 2. It was $7 shipping. Signature series, it was $40 to my door. It was $7 shipping. So it was $20 a jerkbait, which that's the most, by far, the priciest signature color that we've had. They won't all be like that. I think the crankbaits.
Well, that's because
the Flashpoint's expensive.
Correct. That's because the Flashpoint.
So still, expensive. There's other brands where if you were to go to pick it up from the store, pre-tax will still be more. Expensive than that.
So what I did was because I got 8 of them.
It's free shipping over 30. Me and you work for them and order stuff at full price, and I freaking do this, forget the code, and then didn't know that it's free shipping over 35.
Yeah, like 2 more baits, you'd have been there.
Wait, so it would have been.
Yeah, you would.
Oh, I would have basically gotten like 2 basically free baits if I'd used the code and gotten the free shipping.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh man, it's one of those.
Well, Matt, you had a morning, bro.
Dude, I'll tell you what. So nader season starts typically around the end of March, right? So you're talking March, April, May. It's those 3 months. I like to travel, not be here for it, but it's fine when you're prepared for it. You get your stuff. You're like, it's just items. It's just things. As long as we're safe, we've got everything prepared. We can deal with what happens, and you mentally and physically prepare for tornado season. Some years you go, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you're in there 8 or 9 times a year. I was not physically or mentally prepared for the sirens this morning. So, I mean, it's, we go live 8:30 a.m. Central Time. So at like 7:50 Central Time, I'm just sitting here, I got my little routine. We're both men of routine, and just instant adrenaline rush. Not like scared, just like little bit triggered. So I'm still kind of coming down from that adrenaline rush then.
You're doing great, dude.
I'm not. I literally just showed all of my information on the screen.
No, I stopped you.
The wrong number of baits, was unable to get you the correct link.
And forgot the code. Well, the beauty part about the show is that in about another 3 minutes, we're all in on fishing. So we're good. We're going to be really good.
Yeah. No, I ordered 2 deeps. I said buy at least 2. Well, I did, but I also know that there's a limited numbered 1 to 600, and they sell out in a day. So I don't want to like sit here and.
You got to have them.
Yeah, I just don't want to sit here and hoard them. Like,
you gotta have.
Got those right there. My biggest regret, I was considering one of those eBay purchases of just buying the whole lot from last year. Like I should have.
Yeah, some of those guys are pricey.
Yeah, I know,
but they don't exist anymore. So what are you gonna do? You gotta.
I know. Also, big news yesterday. We hit 20,000 YouTube subscribers on BTO.
Outstanding.
It says, is it 1,200 this month or is it 600?
What?
I don't know. He's saying, is it 1,200 this month?
It's 600 of each.
Oh, 600 of each. So 600 of the
shallow
and 600 of the shallow. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So technically there's 1,200 in this paint, but it's 6. Oh, it literally says free U.S. shipping orders over 35.
I wish you would have saw that because you're going to want more than 2.
Oh, a real jackass.
I could give you a number to call after the show, and you could take care of that.
Yeah, $59.99. Yeah, so I would have gotten 2 more for $19.
Yeah, you'd have got one for free almost.
So you're getting 4 for $60. Yeah, with the discount.
Yeah. So
it's $15 a bait for the Signature Series Limited Edition.
Yeah, perfect.
I don't think you even really have to hard sell that. That's a pretty good deal.
No, dude.
In today's day and age.
And here, if you notice something, I'm going to point something out just to show you something else. Okay.
What's that?
All right. So look at the lateral line and the muscle lines on that bait. They're white. Okay. We did that for contrast because if you look at my original, they're dark gray. The muscle lines on the bait. Zoom me in, man. If you look at my original, you see the muscle lines are gray. It stood out way better in white on the jerk bait because on this bait I got way more room to work. You follow me? Mm-hmm. But on the jerk bait, you only have a half an inch to work with, and the gray got fuzzed out. So we made it white, which I actually like better for the jerk bait.
It looks good. It's kind of got a little bit of to me, it's like a combination of like 3 colors. Like you've got that kind of pinkish in the back on some of them. And then you've got some algae bone elements in it with the more herringbone and the chartreuse on the belly. And then you've got the cream on the top.
Yeah. And the violet pearl in there is gorgeous. Yeah. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's so subtle. It's so nice. And then a trick that I do also with the flash point is I will take a Sharpie, a pastel colored Sharpie, if I don't want the silver flash, and I will put a Sharpie over it, and it's like almost like makes the blade look anodized on it.
Yeah, I think you told that before. Yeah. I will definitely do that. I also I saw there was like it just went to that one. They had the list of the other 2 up there the other day when I was going through it. So.
Gotcha. But yeah, so it's cool. It's a great color. I love the color, and man, I can't wait till they get here. We still have ice here, although we've had 3 of the warmest days all winter.
Yeah.
And most of our snow melted already.
I was going to talk to you about this before the show, but I was at a storm cellar. My buddy Austin Cranford, who I don't even know if he said, I'm going to say it. He can be pissed at me afterwards. I think he said it on there. So we went to he's just made the Elite Series, so he's just trying to get into flow for the year, right?
Right.
And went to a lake. Went to a lake that we'll probably go to, but not a normal lake, like one that we were like, I went crappie fishing there and saw some potential of some giant things floating around. It was like, yeah, those look like bass. Anyway, he goes out there and racks a 30 bag on an OG Rogue.
Oh my gosh.
And the way the fish were positioned in the trees, the Rogue was the only bait he could get to him that had like this cold, muddy water, and he was catching them in cold, like a foot or less of visibility, Frank. And this guy is caught 30 pounds on an OG Rogue, like 3 foot under the surface.
Oh my gosh. So he was throwing was he throwing a pro Rogue or a suspending rattling Rogue?
Just an old Rogue. I don't know which one it is.
I bet it was the old pro Rogue.
But I thought it was
really
cool. Like, you don't hear that.
No.
You don't see that a lot.
No, I'm gonna have to bring my pro Rogues with me then when I come.
Here, watch. I'll show you just a little bit. Now it's scope, so don't freak out, people.
Yeah, because I'm gonna get into later in the show. I'm gonna get into traditional.
Watch this. There's the Rogue.
Oh my God.
There's the Rogue. See how it's like chugging?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Not darting?
Yes.
All on an old Rogue. Isn't that freaking cool?
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to have to change line. I got 8 pound on all my jerkbait rods.
Yeah.
For up here.
That was right in the freaking gut. So then I went fishing with him yesterday before we get into the show. I caught a personal best. We went spoonbill snagging.
I swear to God, those things, they look like sharks, dude.
Dude,
looks like
I wouldn't want to do it every day.
A little basking shark.
But it was that video of him comes out on a Friday, but it was absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
They're so cool.
Look at this thing.
Look at that. Oh my gosh, dude.
I mean, that is an hour from my house on Keystone Lake in Oklahoma. It's had 3 of the last world records that came out of it. That is considered a good one, but not a big one.
Good Lord.
And we were, you have to have a paddlefish permit. We released all of them. We did not molest the paddlefish. We did not keep any of them. They all swam away healthy. We didn't keep them in the boat for for an extended period of time. You had to rope them, like tail rope them with a boat rope to get them into the boat. 12-aught barbless hook.
Jesus.
Single hook on it. Like I read all the rules. So freaking fine tooth combed. You know what I mean? Just because.
You have to. Yeah.
Because it's the only fish you catch snagging. Like beforehand, you snag them below the dams. You snag them with trolling. So it's like, they're never biting. They're just existing.
Well, they're plankton feeders.
Yeah.
That's all they feed on is plankton. They swim with their mouth open, just like a basking shark, and just eat all day.
So at the risk of offending some people, it's kind of like an underground redneck activity in Oklahoma because we have some of the best spoonbilling. We have the best spoonbilling in the world. We had never done it. We went out, literally dropped the trolling motor in the middle of the lake, and having never done it before, we're like, oh, there's some down there. So we start pitching 4-ounce weight, flipping stick, big giant reels. And it takes us like half an hour to hook them. And Cranford and I are like, we suck. Like you watch the stuff, you watch the videos online and they're catching them like every time they get around one. Well, come to find out, no one fishes for them deeper than 15 foot. and we were catching them out of 40. So that's why.
Holy
And they
smoke.
swim in a serpentine fashion. They never stop moving. You've got this 4-ounce weight knuckling down. You've got this fish swimming. You've got us going against the boat, and you're scoping 50 feet out. I'm shocked that we caught 6, but what's the biggest freshwater fish that you've ever hooked, Frank?
The biggest freshwater fish that I've ever hooked and landed was a buffalo or a carp. I used to fish for them on purpose in the wintertime in the hot water discharges. 8-pound, we didn't have fluoro back then, 8-pound mono, and a white grub soaked in anise oil. They loved the sweet stuff, so I'd soak my grubs in anise oil and blackberry. And it was like 35 pounds, 40 pounds. And you'd fight them, and we'd catch them nonstop all day. Because here's the thing with the hot water discharge that we used to fish. You're not allowed in them after 9/11. You can't go to them anymore. Yeah. But there's an intake, and we would fish for steelhead and smallmouth in the intake. You go to the outtake where the cooling water cools the turbines and then comes out as hot water. And so all the carp and the rough fish go into hot water side. And when the turbines, there'll be so much shad that gets caught in the turbines that when they turn the turbines on for the first time, all the ground up shad and everything else gets blown out into the discharge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a feeding binge. Like every fish in there is just eating this stuff.
Just shooting out ground protein.
100%, dude. It's like fish burgers, you know what I mean? And so we would go in there and catch these gigantic carp. Like I got pictures, me and Troy, where I'm holding them by the gills, and the carp is literally chest high, and the tail is on the front deck of my boat.
Common carp or buffalo?
Buffalo and common carp, both.
So one's gold, one's silver?
Yeah, ish. Their colors change.
Yeah. Dude, they fight like crazy when I've hooked them.
Dude, they're all muscle, and you're not hooking them in the most optimum place.
Yeah, and typically it's every time I've caught a big one, I've snagged it cranking, like where you're just like, do, oh, big one. And then you're like, not a bass. And then you follow it around.
Right.
Because before scope, you couldn't just pan over and see what it looked like after you hooked it. I remember I had one on Ted Killer where I never saw it for like half an hour. And I'd snagged a grass carp in the back fin. So it had all the power. And I literally was like calling my buddies going, I don't know what I got, but it's a lake record. And I didn't have scope. So, I follow this thing all around the damn lake for like 45 minutes on a crankbait, get it up, and it's only like a 30-pound grass carp, but because it was swimming away, they're so strong.
Oh, dude, they're amazing. Now, grass carp are cool. Like, I fly fished for them.
Really?
Yeah, listen to this. This is story time. So listen to this. So there was a farm pond off of this road. And it was in Aurora, Ohio. And I had a buddy of mine that literally lived right up the street from this, like around the corner from this pond. And so he goes, yeah, you got to come and check it out. Yeah, 100%. He's like, you got to come out to this pond, check it out. There's big fish in it. I don't know what they are, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, no problem. So I threw my fly rod in the truck. Why I didn't bring any conventional tackle with me is beyond me, but I threw my fly rod in the truck, and I go there and I see these gargantuan white armors sucking the cottonseed off the top of the water. And I'm like, oh my God, those are like 30+ pounders. And so I didn't have anything with me that would float like a dry fly or anything that would float, but I had some really tiny marabou streamers that I made. So what I did was I cut the eyes off of them, the lead eyes off of them, and I ratted it up with I just ratted up all the marabou. So it was like big, knotty, clumpy looking marabou. It wasn't streamlined anymore. And I see this one just klooping this stuff on the surface, and I lay that fly out there right in front of his face, and it just comes up and it goes, and that marabou goes in that thing's mouth, and I freaking set up on him, and it goes, wow. It starts ripping across this lake, dude. I am literally into the reel, and it is screaming. And this carp comes full body 5 feet out of the water like a tarpon. And I'm like,
wow.
You gotta be kidding me. So I lean in on the fish, I let him jump. It kaboosh in the water. I survived the jump. I still got him on. He's still going across this pond. He comes out of the water again, full body out of the water again. Kaboosh, hits the water. I survived the jump. The thing makes a hard turn, and he's pulling, and he comes up and he cartwheels like really funky out of the water, and I lose him. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And dude, it's not a tiny pond. This thing had me into the backing, into my backing. So I'm like, oh my God. And dude, I went there every other day for a month trying to catch them again. And the only ones I could get were the little ones, the little 8-pounders. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. There was probably one of the biggest freshwater fish that I ever had on. And I did not survive the third jump. And I was shocked when it came out of the water because I didn't know they jump.
Yeah. Now, how big, what would you say, guesstimate?
I couldn't even guess, dude. It was gigantic. Like, it was gargantuan. And when it came full body out of the water the first time, I almost just froze because it was like tarpon fishing, dude. I mean, this fish came flying out of the water, all contorted and everything. I was like, holy crap. And I went there every day trying to catch that thing, and I couldn't get a big one after that. And I don't know. I even made flies. I made flies that look like broccoli, that look like grass. I mean, I made flies that look like everything that would float,
floating broccoli fly.
Dude, I did. I used olive green foam and palmered hackle feathers around it just to make it look like a weed, because they're grass eaters basically. Although occasionally they'll take protein. But
Sean said the moment your legs go weak when a steelhead flying straight out of the water.
Oh yeah, dude. So I was like out of control with this stupid grass carp stuff. And so then I went to the river systems and fished for common carp with my fly rod,
so you're a carper.
It was so much fun because I was practicing for red fishing.
Yeah.
And so when you go to these small streams and it has common carp in them, most of them are between 3 and 9 pounders. But they tail in the mud like redfish. They eat small crustaceans and stuff. Not the grass carp, the common carp. And so I just tied stonefly patterns and little crayfish patterns and would go out and catch them. In fact, when my son Noah was born, it might have been Rosie, my daughter, I was out carp fishing, and I was on call. If my wife went into labor, I'd have to bail. That's how it was, like almost the due date. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was out carp fishing of all things.
Wait, you almost missed the birth of a child because you're carp fishing?
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't miss it. I mean, I didn't miss it. No, I didn't miss it. Okay. I was there.
I too, I don't know if I should say this. I'll say it. I too am a closet carper.
Yeah, dude, it's a ball.
And I have, I think I've talked about on the show how I've gotten really into the European stuff. And I mean, the way we treat carp over here is would be like if they just chucked 12-pound largemouth on the bank.
Yeah.
But this is what I would love. So these are curated ponds. This is they just like you build a stadium, they build a carping hole, a carp pond.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's a glass carp, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a mirror.
A mirror carp,
with no scales on it.
Yeah, mirror carp.
A scaleless mirror, but the way that they build the dimensions over there are just bonkers.
Yeah, dude.
And I've never caught a mirror. One of my bucket list fish was a paddlefish, which I got to knock off, and a muskie, which I got to knock off this past year. But a mirror carp is on the bucket list, which I know sounds odd, but it's true. I want to catch a mirror carp.
Yeah, no. If we could go to the discharges anymore, I could get you a mirror carp right now.
I've done the Asian carp, I've done the big head carp, the common carp, the buffalo. I've done all that stuff. But
yeah,
to me, like one of those where you get down and take the European photo where you're like, holding it. Yeah, with the mirror carp, like I would put that on the wall.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad to the bone, man.
Are you before we get into today's actual show, are you a picture guy? Like I know with our cell phones, it's so easy to have it. But as I'm cleaning out the house with Corp moving in, because it's our house now, I've come across some albums from my childhood and younger 20s where it's the actual picture to where it'd be like an album where it'd be all the fish pictures. And then I'm taking a lot of fish pictures off of the wall, 8x10s. Are you, hey, I caught an 8-pounder. I'm going to go to Walmart, get an 8x10, put it in the frame and put that picture of that fish on the wall?
I used to have that. I found some photo albums back in the old days where I had all kinds of crazy fish pictures and stuff coming up. But now with the advent of these things, everything's in here and on the cloud. So if I want something, I could just print it off my phone. And so I don't really do that too much. Most of the stuff that I have that's hanging up is like a few trophies, and I still haven't hung up the Bass Hall of Fame thing. That's still sitting on my desk.
Yeah. You need to hang that up. So I was looking around and I have like a banner, and I was telling Court the other day, I said, I want to do an 8x10 of my PBs that I have in each species. And then you can like just change it out. But like, I mean, I think that would be cool. Like for me, when people come over, you have, your muskie, your walleye, your smallmouth, your largemouth, your spot, your catfish, your paddlefish, your yellow perch. Because for some odd reason, after 20 years, I've set like 5 PBs in the past 6 months. So,
well, yeah, because
I think that would be awesome to have a PB wall, and then you literally just exchange it out when you catch a bigger one.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
I mean, you could have all your steelhead and bonefish, saltwater fish in there.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool. It would be super cool, I think. But yeah, man,
I think I'm going to do it. I'm curious if anyone watching today, like, do you have like does anybody have fish pictures on? I mean, like I've got some in the studio there, like that are kind of meaningful to me, but I'm a big visual like picture guy. Like I like to look at it and remember the fit. You don't see that when it's in the phone, except when you're looking for a picture, you scroll through and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. About that. That was such a good time.
Yeah, I don't have pictures of myself hanging up all over the house.
I've got like 2 or 3 of those, but I'm talking about like a still picture that doesn't ever rotate.
Yeah.
We've got a big one out in the kitchen there. It's all wedding pics.
For now. Those will all change.
There it is. He goes, a buddy of mine has exactly what you're talking about going on his wall for years.
So you just swap out one PB for a next PB.
Yeah. So like if you've got the picture, like, I would have had that 11.4 largemouth up there for 12 years, and I'd have got back from Mexico, printed out the 11.11, and the 11.4 goes down, and now the 11.11's up.
Yeah, that's cool. As long as your house isn't full of pictures of yourself.
He said for a kid it would be awesome. I'm a kid, but no, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be like in the foyer. It's at the entryway. It would be like in the fishing studio. I mean, look at this. This is just fishing.
Yeah, 100%. I'm totally with you on that.
Okay. He said I do print from my phone and put it on the wall. LaBarbera takes it a step further and does like 16x24s.
We're gonna have to talk about that ego, young man.
Actually, they're 24x18s. Yeah.
Wow. Of me. Well, at least you won't forget what you look like.
Yeah. All right. We've only made it 40 minutes in. I'm interested. I know it doesn't feel like that, but it's also like some of that was
Tornado Alley.
That was Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
You wanted to do like a little refresher on 2D and side imaging and just using the basic electronics to find stuff, Frank.
Yeah, I'm actually going to show you guys a trick on 2D sonar. So what I want to talk about is how to find the best fishing spots using 2D sonar and side imaging. And the reason that I chose both of those is because I think today side imaging is as standard as 2D sonar is. And so you can't have one or include one without the other. So we're going to do that. I'm going to touch on a few things, but a couple of tweaks that are going to make your life way less miserable. So the first thing I'm going to say is the most important thing is to understand all of your electronics, because having your electronics dialed in is critical. It's going to give you the best reading. In other words, it's going to make it more visual for you to see what's on that unit. The one thing that I like, okay, so I don't want any, I'm going to call it power robbing functions turned on, like fish ID, fish reveal. Anytime you turn that stuff on, you're losing the ability to see what you need to see. It takes away from it, because the machine's processing too much information at the same time. So I set everything on manual and I have none of the extraneous, things turned on. I don't have my depth lines turned on. I don't have fish ID turned on, none of that. So I put everything in manual mode.
Okay.
What this does for me is then once I get, like, if I know that for the day, the deepest water I'm going to encounter is 25 feet, I'll set my unit at 30, my 2D unit at 30. And then I'll make my adjustments from there. So the only thing I'm going to screw it the rest of the day is going to be gain or sensitivity. They're interchangeable. My depth range, and of course, side imaging. You're going to talk about distance. So those are the only 3 buttons I'm going to have to push during the day when I'm fishing. So one trick with the 2D sonar that I used to do all the time, like here, look, like I won a lot of money smallmouth fishing on the Great Lakes and inland lakes. One of the things I learned is to adjust your upper and lower limit. So here's what it is. So if I'm only interested in structure and fish on the bottom, okay, I can knock out 5 to 10 feet of my surface water. So if I'm in, let's say I'm fishing 25 to 30 feet deep, then I'll change my upper limit to 10 feet. So I knock the first 10 feet out of the water column. And then my lower limit, I'll set at 35 feet. So I'm 5 feet below the bottom. All right. This does a few things, okay? For one, you're eliminating 10 feet of the top of the water column. So that is why it was important that I told you, if we're targeting stuff on the bottom, because you could knock out your upper limit and never see bait fish. So you want them, this is only for targeting them on the bottom. Back in the old days when I used to fish Lake Erie and the Great Lakes for smallmouth, I always had my upper limit at 10 to 15 feet because I was only concentrated in the structure on the bottom. And when I would drop my drop shot down there or my tube on them, I wouldn't even see it come on the screen until it got past, 10 to 15 feet, whatever I had that limit set at. Then it would show up. But what it does is it gave me way better fish separation when the fish were just 2 to 3 inches off the bottom. I can see them down there milling around in the rocks on 2D sonar, and honestly could catch almost every one that I saw directly underneath the transducer. And so that's how I made a lot of my money fishing for these things back in the day. So we're eliminating the surface,
because if you hadn't done that, it would just blend into the bottom because there's not as much energy that's being focused in.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. I actually drew
Sorry, I didn't mean to get you off course.
You're right on the money. So what happens when you do this? When you cut out your upper limit, okay, and let's say we make it 10 feet or 15 feet. you get a bigger, cleaner bottom reading. All right. You're not zooming in on it. When you hit the zoom button, all it's doing is blowing up what you're seeing now.
So I get grainy.
Yeah, this gives you clean detail. So here.
I still don't understand how this works, but continue.
Okay, so this is my graph.
Oh God, that's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to do either. Neither's that. Oh God, we're screwed. What if I just did that?
Okay, so this is my graph in regular mode. My 2D sonar in regular mode. I got the surface. The surface is at 0, and it goes down to 35 feet. This bar on the side over here is your true live reading. So whatever you see right here, is live. That's directly under your boat. By the time it gets out here, you're already way past it. This is the only live reading on 2D sonar. That's why when I'm fishing off of 2D, I never remove this bar. Because
what bar is that called?
I forgot the name of the bar. Okay. But it's almost like a old flasher unit. Yep. You'll see the fish register up here before you see it come on the screen. So this is pretty much what your screen looks like normally from 0 to 35. If I were to knock out my my upper limit, now your screen is going to look like that. So this becomes magnified, but not blown up artificially.
Go back to the other one real quick and then show that one again.
Are we good? Because I can't.
Yeah, they're perfect. So you drew the same hump, but
correct.
Okay.
So here, on the original, you could see fish, you could see the fish underneath here. But if you get rid of that upper limit, then that's how the fish are going to look, like this. You see what I mean? Yep. And you'll be able to distinguish the rocks better. So if there's a fish hiding between the rocks, you'll be able to see them. You'll pick them up off the bottom. That's what the upper and the lower limit does to your 2D sonar. This was the number one way that I made my money smallmouth fishing back in the day. Was right here. I could see fish guys wouldn't even see, and so that's the reason. So when you're looking for structure and cover with 2D sonar, the tighter your zigzags are, the tighter you're looking for the cover, the tighter your boat movements are, the more accurate you're going to be when you're dropping waypoints, like on a ledge or a hump or a piece of structure or cover. I mean, so you can't do these wide sweeping turns with 2D sonar because you could miss the best spot on earth that way. So what I also want to get into is that what I see people, I don't want to say they side scan improperly. That's not really accurate, because if you're turning your side imaging on, it's not really improper.
They're not maximizing their side imaging capabilities.
Right. It's a big mistake. What I see guys do is they turn on side imaging and they just randomly idle around. And
that's what I do.
Which you can do, and you could find some interesting stuff. But just because you're side scanning doesn't mean you see everything. I'll explain this because I have very good examples. Because things can hide from you. So if you're side imaging, and let's say if you don't travel in the perfect angle or the proper angle for that structural element, for drunkwood, take a shot. If your angle isn't perfect for how that structural element lays, it can hide from you. You may not see it as good as it really is. So I'm going to give you an example. So I was on this lake, and it's a lake I was very unfamiliar with. And it was a few years ago, so it was fairly recent. So I made the decision that I was going to spend one day and not fish. All I wanted to do is just side image all day. So I'm side imaging around, and I did it systematically. I had my map up, side imaging going, and I was meticulously going through this lake from the deepest part of the lake till my boat got stuck in the mud. And what had happened was the thermocline was shallower than I expected. So I was paying more attention to stuff above the thermocline, but I had found this ledge-ish type thing deeper than the thermocline, not by a ton, only by like 3 or 4 feet deeper than the thermocline. But the thermocline was so prevalent, I didn't pay much attention to the ledge. As I was going through the system, farther down the way, I came upon another ledge. Looked good, didn't look great, deeper than the thermocline, but I had marked the one, and I marked that one because I'm going to go investigate at another time, I guess. And so here's what happened. I have another diagram, but I'm not going to show it yet. So here's what happened. So I had a guy with me this year from Pradco that came down. The lake had already flipped over. We were crappie fishing, perch fishing, and bass fishing, and we were doing very well on all three. I'm like, you know what? I want to go check this little know-nothing ledge that I found because it looked okay, but it didn't look great. I went back to it, and I re-side imaged it, and I cut my angles differently on it. And I'm like, how in God's name did I ever overlook this place? It's money. It's got giant boulders on it, huge stumps on it. They peter out in some areas. They get really good in other areas. It's a beautiful, like if I had to draw one, that's how I would draw it. So it was crazy. So, so that day, not the day with my friend from Pradco, the day I was side imaging this place, I had run side imaging across an object, and I immediately threw a waypoint on it and said, oh, that's an old foundation, and kept on looking for more stuff. I went back to the foundation, okay, and I did this. This was my area of concern. This was my object. So my first pass, I found it just going by it, and I saw a flat top to it and a little angle on it. I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, well, let me go around it. So I went around and I made a second pass this way. And I saw a higher angle on it, and I'm like, holy crap. So then I did my diamond, where I do a diamond shape around this thing. And then my last pass is I cut right over the top of it because I want to see exactly what I'm looking at. This turned out to be a concrete block that went over a river. The concrete top is the road. This concrete box is fully intact, okay? On one side of it is gravel mound, probably where they put the gravel for erosion purposes. On the other side of this block was giant slabs of broken concrete, okay? And when I made my other pass across the bottom of it, it had a perfectly square opening, and you could almost see into the tube. And the opening was big enough to put a car in, all right? I took Frankie there, and I don't know how many bass he scoped out of the opening. You could see them in there, and they were in it. They weren't out of it. They
That
were
is
in it.
badass, Frank.
Yes. So he got the angle down, and with forward facing sonar, when you pan over it, it would show you right inside the hole of this thing. And he's like, Dad, there's bass in there. I go, catch them. And so what he did was he was pulling them out of that. And then I would tell him, scan to the left, and I would see where the broken slabs of concrete were. And then I'd throw my football jig out there and catch the ones on the broken concrete with the football jig. And he was scoping the ones that were in the hole and on the side of the gravel.
But it sounds like the way that you side imaged it, you understood what it looked like. You knew there was a hole there. You knew where the high percentage areas were.
Yeah.
So while you couldn't, let's say you didn't have forward facing, while you couldn't drop the trolling motor and say, oh, there are fish in there, you could catch them because you knew you were putting your bait in high percentage areas.
Absolutely.
So you didn't need the forward facing definitely helped. Probably caught a lot more fish, knew you exactly what you were looking at. But let's say you didn't have it. That was a scenario where you're saying proper side imaging allowed you to build a mental picture of it instead of just chucking something across the corner and saying, oh, it's a foundation corner.
Right, 100%. I did that too. I found that I was side imaging and I was in a hurry. Not the day I took my time and did it right. I was in a big hurry and I rode past something and I saw it and I go, oh, there's some tiny foundations, and I just threw a waypoint on it. Few weeks later, I went back and I was fishing on this other lake, and I went to that foundation, and it turned out it was five pallets. One of them was laid down and the other ones were TP'd. I didn't hit it at the right angle side imaging, and it just looked like a foundation of some sort. And when I went there to fish it, and I had my live scope on, they were pallets. And I'm like, oh my God, I should have spent more time side imaging this, because I would have known exactly what it was before I ever went back to it. So it's very important that when you see something, you need to, change all your angles on it with side imaging when you're looking at it, and you will find the best place on that element to fish. And then the other thing with side imaging is, you're going to want to experiment with your color palettes, because this one stupid thing that I found out is that one color might work better on a lake than another color, depending on how much debris is in the water and how much stuff how much is floating around out there. But what I found normally, I use 2 color palettes when I'm hunting for items. I use the amber palette, or I use black and white. What I found with black and white is black and white gives me better shadows. It helps me find something a little more subtle that I might miss with the amber. Both screens will show you hard spots on the bottoms, like shell beds, because the amber will blow out to a really bright yellow, and that'll be the hard spot or the shell beds. And then black and white, it'll blow out to white. So you'll see all this medium gray area, and then you'll see a hot spot in it. That's either a shell bed or a hard spot on the bottom. Probably the last thing I want to reiterate here, and I have to say this because over the last 3 years, this has been 100% the truth. Using forward-facing sonar to help further dissect these structural places will show you things that neither of the other 2 units showed you. And I don't ever fish without my forward-facing sonar on, and I mostly conventionally fish. I don't chase a lot of floating bass around with live scope. I am a structure fishing freak. I love it. It's where I live. It makes me the happiest, but I never have that unit off. It has become so important to dissect structure that now my 2D sonar is literally a 2-inch sliver on the side of my graph, and the rest is a map, because that's how much I rely on the forward-facing unit to show me what I'm looking at. I already know what it is. I have my waypoints on them. I have them labeled. I already know what it is. I don't need 2D anymore for that. And so I'm kind of getting to where the forward-facing sonar unit is more of an everyday fishing thing for me than 2D sonar. Where back in the day, 2D sonar, my eyes were glued on it nonstop. Every minute of every day I was fishing, I was on that 2D sonar. Never took my eyes off of it. And I caught more fish looking at fish on 2D sonar than probably you could not even imagine how many fish I caught actually seeing fish on 2D sonar. The main thing is it's really important to use all of your electronics to your advantage to find the best of the best, to find the spot on the spot. And you need all of your electronics to do that. If you stick with a conventional approach and look at structure systematically predicated on your mapping and everything else, it's easier to break down. And I promise one thing, you guys are going to find more stuff and have way better fishing. And I wanted to touch on that because I was just kind of reminiscing about some things that I've been doing over the last couple years. And I know there's a big divide with forward-facing sonar, which I don't get it, because I very rarely am chasing floating fish unless I'm crappie fishing. Now, I'm not going to tell you I don't see bass floating and catch them, because of course I do, because I want to catch fish. But I won't launch my boat and go, okay, today I'm just going to go do nothing but scan over the river channel till I find bass. That's just not how I'm built, but I do that. So to say I don't do that would be a lie, but it's not how I use forward-facing sonar 80% of the time. I am using it conventionally fishing. Grass edges, rock piles, stump rows, channel edges, channel swings, drains and guts. When you find a good drain in the gut on side imaging and 2D sonar, your forward-facing sonar gives you the ability to fish that perfectly. You could throw your lure right where it's got to go the first or second time. You don't have to make 30 casts. Like we used to Carolina rig, and if I had a single stump in 25 feet of water, we would Carolina rig it, and I would cast the Carolina rig 15 times before I actually hit the stump.
Yep.
Now I could hit it on the first cast every time. That's the advantage of forward-facing sonar. Conventionally fishing, it is going to put way more fish in your boat and save you countless wasted minutes casting, which is, in my world, I'm out there to catch fish, and I don't always have from dark to dark to do it. I got to do it in the fastest, shortest amount of time, and this cuts a lot of wasted time out in the day. Wow. Whew.
That was really good. I have been taking screenshots of it from Google Earth because I can't figure out how to get the latitude and longitude off of the screen at Google Earth, and it is a spot that, while I've seen other people fish, I really have no desire to put it out there, because for the last 15 years, it's been a little bit of a glory hole.
Yeah,
So I took pictures, but this literally, what you just did, this is how I've combined the side imaging with the forward facing, and it's that little seminar that you just gave is exactly. All right. So this is the spot. See the water?
Yeah.
Boy, my phone cover is dirty. It just sits in the boat all day. It's got paddlefish slime all over it. Perfect. That's the spot. Do you see anything there?
No. Well, I see upper top, but it could be glare.
Okay. That is a shallow point in the upper top. You can see it kind of right there. See where it's getting shallower?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. This is so nuts. So I've side imaged that a long time ago, right? And it's a foundation. So this is what's down there.
Oh, damn. I know what lake that is. That is fabulous, dude.
So that's what's down there. But I side imaged it, and that's what it looks like without it. But here's the crazy part. I catch more fish because I side imaged it improperly. I side imaged it, Frank. I said, there's the foundation. And I would go back and I would make the same cast. You follow me?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
So this is another image of it. And you can see, I don't know what it is, what those two rocks or big white things are, but that's where I would catch them. Okay. And I knew it was a corner. And I knew that there was something heavy down there. But I would catch them where those two white chunk things are. I don't know what the hell that is. Big rock. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
But that was all I fished around it. So then I got forward facing sonar because it was hard to side image the backside of it because it was so shallow.
Right.
And I didn't side image it properly. If I had done the diamond technique, I would have noticed this. So with live scope, I have caught so many fish off of this spot, and the majority have nothing to do with this. And I'll show you why. Because if I zoom out on this, you will see in the corner, there is another foundation. I don't know whether that was the old outhouse. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, dude, I see it.
Those fish don't get pestered.
Nope. It's because it's not the obvious.
Then on the top side, there's a tree in what was their backyard. There's always a 4-pounder on that tree. Then if I go to the other side of it, there's multiple stumps on the other side of it.
Yeah.
I had no clue that existed until I started going around there with side imaging. All I knew was this. I would also know that sometimes I would break off and get hung up if I made a bad cast. That's because there's a rock pile on the side of the house right there.
Oh, yeah, dude, I see it.
So had I done it properly, I would have caught more fish off of that.
Sooner.
Yes. But I also utilized the live scope best. That place has saved my ass numerous times.
But that's why it's so important. I'm trying to dig something out of here. I have a side imaging shot of something.
But that on side imaging, I literally went across the front of it, marked it, and was like, "Oh, there's the foundation," which I was correct. But dude, I was leaving so much meat on the bone for so many years because I would catch fish. I would be like, "Oh, they're on this corner of the foundation. It's what it is." I mean, this is like the size of a swimming pool or football field, 100 yards, I'd say, around this. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 11 other targets that consistently hold fish that I didn't know existed because I improperly side imaged.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's important to change the angle. Okay, so here it is. Let me see. Hopefully I can. Oh, I got glare. Let me see something.
Lincoln, it's 100% where they go when they're pressured. You don't catch them on the high percentage cast there. You catch them on the stobs and the auxiliary foundations.
Okay, so I side imaged this bridge.
Ooh.
Those are all crappie, Matt, by the way.
That's a side image picture from your unit.
Yeah.
Is that forward facing or side?
Side. So
damn, that's impressive.
So I side imaged that. So this was when I had active target 1.
I'm sorry.
And so active target 1, this is kind of what I saw with it. I can still see all the crappie and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was crappie fishing that day, but I was more interested in bass fishing. So I re-side imaged it. And this is taking from a different angle. This is the bridge. Whoops, this is the bridge.
Yep.
But this is where the bass are at. on the
What is that?
concrete blocks.
Yeah, you'd have never known that.
I would have never known that. And that is 35 yards from that bridge. And so I wouldn't have known that. And then, of course, you got the boulders away from it, the boulders that are piled up away from it over here. That's where I catch them. And so it's wild, but you can see. So you could see that when I first cut the side imaging, I had to cut over top of it because I wasn't getting a good picture. So I ran straight over the top of it. And that's when the concrete block showed up for me. When I paralleled it, you saw something, but you didn't know what it was. When I cut it down the middle, then I said, oh my God. And so a lot of guys will fish the bridge, but I'll go
fish the rock.
But I'll go and fish the rock.
Dude, so this is the same lake. This is another spot on that lake. If you run past this, there's a very obvious spot that guys catch fish on. But there's a spot that's like 50 yards behind it that if you don't understand it or you don't know, I mean, I found it on Google Earth, but I fished this. You have no idea this is there. You think it is a barren sand gravel wasteland.
Oh my God.
Look at what it is.
Oh my God, dude.
This is when the water is super low. So like I have crank there. So see, like you crank that rock tip point.
Yeah.
All around it is just sand. Look at that little gem that's 50 yards behind it.
Oh,
so whenever those fish get pressure, whatever they're up in shallow, they all slide to the secondary rock that is typically in 4 to 6 foot of water.
Yeah, those are the gold mines.
You would never know that if the water isn't normal pool and unless you do that.
Yeah, there's the coolest thing about structure fishing is the spots that will surprise me the most are the smallest looking stuff away from the main element that produce over and over and over again. And it's one thing, Matt, they don't get the pressure. They do not get the fishing pressure. I got, I don't want to say poached, but I got poached on a spot that I had on this lake, and I would go out there and have Magnum days. And when I got poached out there, my Magnum days started to turn into very lean days where I couldn't catch them there anymore. Good. I couldn't even go there and say I could catch a limit off of it.
Mm-hmm.
I re-scanned everything. We went through everything. 30 yards down from it, I found another tricky spot. And now that's where I catch them because the main spot gets pounded. And so I'm catching them 30 yards away. I had Rick with me and trailer Rick, and there was a guy on it. We blew past it, and I said, he'll leave. We'll go catch him. And he's like, how do you know? I go, he ain't fishing it right. And the guy left, and Rick and I went there, and I don't know how many we caught off of it because the guy was just not on the right stuff. And so that's the beauty part. When you do your homework and you do the work, you get the reward. Mm-hmm. That's why I love structure fishing so much, because you get the reward. And structure fishing holds a lot of bass.
Now, the reality is if you're going to do it and you're doing it the side imaging and down imaging, it takes time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost like being a baseball hitter. You're not going to find something when you do the diamond, when you do all that passes every time. And sometimes what you see is what it is, and it doesn't turn out what it is.
Right.
Back when that was all that was available, I want to say the Timmy Hortons, the guys like that, I was in the boat a lot with them because I was covering for sponsors. I would go out as a media observer during an official day of practice. So It's not like a screw around day. They're there, meet me at the boat ramp, first light, stay till dark. It is a work day.
Oh yeah.
I would say out of all the guys I've been in, outside of like a northern tournament where you're marking boulders and there's a lot of boulders everywhere and you're trying to get it, if they could locate what they would call, if they could find in a 12-hour day 2 places that they felt comfortable and confident that they could go back, catch a fish on, and that they either would stop and explore and cast or mark waypoints and be like, I'm coming back here in the tournament. That was a massively successful day.
Yeah, my goal every day I went out looking during Bassmasters, my goal was 2 to 3 places a day. If I could find 2 to 3 places a day, that would structure places that were holding fish, it was a good practice.
Okay, now listen. That's going to be summer. That's going to be a long daylight. That's going to be 13 to 15 hours of daylight sometimes. And what 100%. Frank is saying is 2 spots a day. That is
3.
1 every 4 to 6 hours.
Yes.
And that's assuming that you're not fishing, you're not screwing around. That is
work.
Just listen to that. That is 4 hours of you going, I haven't found crap.
Yeah, and then all of it.
One spot. And right. I don't know if you've ever idled, but if you're actually idling and you're looking at side imaging and stuff, start a stopwatch. Don't look at it. I don't have my screen on my time on my graph because mine screws me, and I'm like, oh my God, I've only got 7 hours left. So I just take it off. But what you will find is the time does not pass quickly.
No. I have literally, I can't even tell you the amount of days that I have spent idling and looking and never making a cast. It's months, more than months. There are times when I would go out on Lake Erie, for example, and I would do nothing but idle the entire day from daylight to dark and never make a single cast. And so, but the rewards are monumental when you find the right stuff. Mm-hmm. They're monumental. And I had a guy on tour one time go, how do you find all this little crap you fish? And I started laughing. I go, I never shut my locators off. He goes, well, I never shut mine off either. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not idling around all day. You got to make a cast or you don't think you're practicing.
But I'll also say this, it's a heck of a lot nicer to idle past something, have it set at 120 or 140 feet out to where you know you're not seeing detail, to where you know you're not seeing exactly what it is, but getting an idea of what it is, making a waypoint, swinging around, dropping the scope, scoping it, knowing exactly what it looks like. So you're utilizing both of those. You're utilizing 100%. Both of the electronic technologies to identify it and then to analyze it.
Here, I'll tell you a funny story. So I'm out on Champlain, and I'm out on Champlain, and my 2D sonar goes out, and I'm losing my ever-loving mind because I have no 2D sonar. The forward-facing sonar wasn't even invented then. I have no 2D sonar. I'm losing my mind. And I'm pretty much coming unglued because I am not going to catch these fish without it. So I'm like, and that was the 2D on the front of my boat, not the 2D on the dash. So I said, okay, I reach in my compartment, I pull out 5 marker buoys, and I idle back over what I wanted to fish, and I dropped marker buoys, not on what I wanted to fish. I dropped 2 on the end, 1 where the turn was, and 1 for boat positioning, predicated on how the wind was blowing. And I didn't use any sonar and caught the crap out of them because I already had found my stuff. So I just marked it with buoys so I got a visual representation because I had no 2D. The feeling that I had that I was so lost when that 2D went out was sickening. Fast forward to crap, Matt. When did I see Scott from the Bass Tank when I got my 12-inch unit? Last year ago? Yeah, a year ago. So I got the unit, and then probably about 7 months after that, or 6 months after that, I was on a lake. I was fishing. I was on them good, catching them, and my forward-facing sonar transducer took a dump.
Just get off the water.
The same sick feeling that I had when my 2D sonar went out is what I had when my live scope went out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I called Scott on the water. We troubleshot through it, and he said, your transducer is no good. I said, okay, no problem. What do I do? So he told me what to do, and I said, when I get off the lake, I'll take care of it. I'll send it back. We'll do everything. He's like, okay. I shut live scope off, had my 2D sonar on, and I fished the rest of the day and caught them till I left. Because I already did the work. I already knew what I was fishing. So at this point, I'm using 2D sonar to keep my boat in the right depth so I could cast at the right structure. I had the waypoints out and everything else. So even though I had the feeling of doom and gloom and all is lost, wasn't lost, because conventionally fishing my entire life, I just said, okay, I'm going to go 2D sonar all the way. And that's what I did. And so, but that's because if you have your units dialed in, you know what they read, you've done your work, it doesn't matter. But I will say, live forward-facing sonar today makes such a difference.
And the way that you use it too, I mean, the more you spend, the bigger it is, the higher the thing. But you can get a 9-inch screen and a 32 transducer and do what you're talking about as far as finding it and allowing it,
Yeah, it's because it's strong.
I mean, this is just something I said. If you mark the spot with side imaging, how do you find it with forward-facing sonar? So if you are literally side imaging and you see something and you just hit a GPS waypoint, that's going to be directly under your boat. So that is not going to be on the structural element that you would like to mark and then go back and look. So if you have a touch screen, you need to actually touch the screen on the object where your little X comes up, and then when you hit the waypoint button, it will then drop on that mark, or take your cursor and up to directly on it, and then you drop your waypoint there. Then you'll notice as you go back to your mapping, it'll be like back to your right or back to your left, depending on where you drop it. That is where you're dropping the waypoint, the GPS waypoint, directly on the structure.
Yeah, you
can't. And then you can spin back around, and as you troll up to it, you get close to it, then you drop it, and then you literally know that you're looking at what you marked with your side imaging with your forward facing.
Right, because I run the mapping unit. I have my forward-facing unit, and then I have my mapping unit with 2D sonar.
And then I would suggest on your forward-facing, if you're trying to find something that you don't know what it is, you set it at 120 feet, and you pan until you see it. And then once you see something that it is, 120 feet, everything's going to look small, but you're going to be telling something's there. You go towards it. When it gets to 80 feet, you mark it to 100. When it gets to 60 feet, you mark it to 80. And if you really, really want to see a lot of detail, bass fishing, I've never gone shorter than 60. Crappie fishing you do, but I'm looking at individual fish at 80 feet, 75, 80 feet, regardless of what unit you're looking at. It gives you a good picture. If you look back behind you, that's roughly to the back end of the deck is roughly 18 to 20 feet. So if you look back at where your motor is on your bass boat, that's 18 to 20 feet. So 60 feet is 3 of those boat lengths. So then as you turn the head of your trolling motor, you're looking in 3 boat lengths
ahead of you
in any direction, which is a nice solid cast.
Yeah, and it's weird because you'll be surprised if you have your.
I didn't mean to limp wrist that cast.
That's okay. You were crappie fishing.
Yeah.
So if you'll be surprised how many times you'll have your forward facing set at 60 feet and go, I can't see my lure. That's because you're casting 10 feet past your view. That's what I found out. Especially
if you want to do a distance thing, go to a concrete wall. If there's a concrete block or structure, all the small lakes, you can go right up to them on the dam right here. But get something that does you cannot see through it. It is fixed. It is 100% fixed. And
Correct.
pan over to that thing and do all your different distance settings and see what it looks like on it, and then cast to it. Like we have a bunch of those small concrete blocks down by the dam that you can get right up to. And you could sit there and you could say, okay, I have mine set at 80 feet. And boom, it shows up on your forward facing right on the very end of it. Take you a plug, jerkbait, jig, whatever, and try to hit the structure.
Yep.
And when you do it, that's how long it is on 80. That way, when you're out there in the abyss and it's stuff that's down there, you get a feel for how long it is. Do 100, do a 60 foot, do a 50 foot. You get the feel. Like, I don't look up. I don't look at my direction. It never even crosses my mind how far I'm throwing, because it is muscle memory, like riding a bike, like ice skating, like doing that, to where you see it and it's just on it. And that's time on the water is the only thing. But when you want to cut the learning curve down, find an object in deep water that comes vertically straight up, and that will show you how far an 80-foot cast, like an 80-foot cast on a jerkbait, you have to wing it. An 80-foot cast on a 3/4 ounce jig, you can just chuck it out there.
You could almost pitch it out there, actually.
Yeah, he said 360 playing this. I'm gonna be honest, as far as I'm concerned, I have not unlocked the magic of the 360. I don't have one on my boat. I've never had one. I've been in it. I know there's guys who absolutely love to use it. It's a kind of a hybrid technology. It's basically side imaging 360. But Frank, do you have any experience with 360?
Only from Frankie's boat, and Frankie loves his 360. It's a unique system. You see the stuff just like you would on side imaging. You see the stuff. You might be fishing a rock pile over here, and then on 360 you see an isolated boulder over here, and then you could throw to the isolated boulder.
It works for grass clumps really well. It works for holes in the grass really well. My personal opinion is that I can see whatever I'd see on 360 with scope, but you get a better picture of it on 360 because it basically is like you're on top of it looking down.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Jonathan Van Dam will not fish without 360. My son Frankie will not fish without 360.
Northern guy.
Jonathan used to tell me that if you really like structure fishing, you need 360. I find that my forward facing is all I care about, because I can turn the trolling motor all the way around and see everything I need to see. And that's pretty much how I do it. The one thing I will say that I personally am not a fan of with the 360 is you're putting a round image on a rectangular screen. So your image is smaller. Now, putting it on a 16-inch unit, different story, your image is bigger. But I don't like
a $5,000 image.
Yeah, exactly. But with the forward facing, I think with forward facing side imaging and a good mapping in 2D, like I only have 3 locators on my boat.
So do I.
That's all I got. That's all I ever have on my boat.
One I just use front for mapping.
Yeah. 100%.
And I have a 12-inch in dash on my console.
Yeah, 100%. I got a 12-inch on the console, and I
also have a 16-inch Garmin.
Yeah, you do. But I've got a 12 on the console. I've got a 12 Garmin, and I got a 12 live on the front. And my live is all of it's a map except for 2 inches is 2D sonar.
Yeah. And I'm not saying 360s aren't badass and you could have put
they are.
With someone to where I jump in and go, okay, yep, I need that. And
they are
more components that I have not.
They're good and they have a function, but I don't think it gives me a bigger advantage than. Yeah, I know Frankie's gonna drill you.
If you're in grass, I know when I go to a night at a Fish It Open that I'm at a disadvantage because if I'm finding rock piles in grass, which is We've done shows on this.
Yes.
It's a popular thing up north, not just year round. You find them two ways. You go up there when there's no grass and you side image and you mark them all. Because rock piles don't move. But let's say you didn't have a chance to drive 23 hours to rock
just to go graphing for 2 days.
You have to literally like hunt. It's like needle in a haystack. You have to hunt through with your forward facing. You can find them some on side imaging.
Yeah, you can.
But the easiest way to find them is with a 360.
There's no question. They stand out like a sore thumb. I've seen the 360 in action. It's a badass picture. It's a good thing.
Especially for the Elite Series guys who have no scope tournaments, but they can use 360.
Yeah. Yeah. But for me, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm not coming into a situation yet where I go, oh, if I only had it. But there again, I've never used it on the Great Lakes, and there's a distinct advantage to that, to having it on the Great Lakes. But, you know.
Violet
Cream Truce.
That kind of sounds like a stripper name. Coming to the stage now, Violet Cream Truce.
Cream Truce. Look at the colors on that gal.
Fine lateral line. Chartreuse gut bag.
And look at the muscle tone. That's it. We're off the air. God, this is the first time we've seen sun here in a long time after the show.
Really? This is the first time I've been in the tornado shelter in a long time.
Yeah, after this show, I'm going outside and standing out in the sun.
600 of each there. Got the old Frank SCALISH signature series on top. Orders over 35 in the U.S. Free shipping. Capital BTO 25 to get 15% off.
I like this color a lot, man. I really do.
Chuck, some glitter would have been a nice addition.
Need glitter. No, you can never get it off, dude.
I wouldn't know, Frank.
That glitter stays with you for weeks.
That's actually how you got into painting lures as a cover.
That's right. That's my
oh. You're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Oh, I know.
You got that freaking powder glitter on your fingers. You're like, oh, I've been the free and clear.
I've been painting like a crazy man, honey.
You wouldn't believe it. I was painting until like 4 a.m. the other night.
Oh man.
I'm experimenting with music. What do you like? Do you like this one?
No.
You don't?
No.
Still don't? Okay, what about this one?
No.
No? What about this one?
Yeah, that's possible.
Okay,
that is possibilities.
We'll just exit with this one. All right, this has been another edition of Day 4 with the man Frank SCALISH. As far as I know, same time, same place next week. Next week, we'll also have dates on when Frank will be in town and in studio.
Perfect.
We'll talk to everyone then. See ya.
Bye.